Hey, what's up? This is Will Powers, CEO and co-founder of the dating coaching and personal development company, Evolution of Man. And our mission is decoding the art of seduction to reclaim your manhood and help you to create a life of choice and abundance with women and dating, as well as develop and evolve into the highest and best version of yourself as a man and truly step into your full potential. So today, I have a very special presentation for you. We're going to be doing a deep dive into the importance of reclaiming our manhood. And this is something I'm really passionate about. It is a foundational piece to Evolution of Man. Because I feel like men today have really lost their way. They've really lost their core confidence and their warriorhood and have become disconnected from their personal power and their masculine essence, which holds so many gifts that could be serving the world and themselves and the women that they date and interact with. So that all ends today. We are reclaiming our manhood because this is such an important piece of the journey of learning to become better with women, creating that life of choice and abundance in your dating and relationship lives, as well as all other aspects of your life. So let's jump into it. So what will be covered today is understanding positive masculinity. So really understanding the importance of positive masculinity and what is positive masculinity and why it's so important to understand all the different positive aspects of masculinity and what are the specific traits of masculinity. So next, we're going to be talking about the agenda to feminize men, because you best believe there is indeed an agenda to feminize men. So we're going to be talking about what that agenda is, why it's important for you to understand that, and really diving into that. Next, we're going to be talking about getting your power back. We're going to talk about how our power has been taken from us as men, how we give away our power, and what we need to do in order to get our power back. Then we're going to be talking about owning our sexuality and why that is so fundamental and so key as part of reclaiming our manhood. And we're also going to talk about, lastly, understanding your value to women, because you have so much value to women, and it is not just the value you've been told that you have. So, understanding positive masculinity. So, the effects of feminism and the Me Too movement. Nowadays, with the third and fourth waves of feminism and the Me Too movement, there is all this propaganda in the media that is shaming men just for being men, just for expressing sexuality to a woman, or anything that is traditionally masculine. It's like it's not okay for a man to be a man anymore. And just being a man is like bad and toxic and wrong. And the problem with this, because I do want to acknowledge that there are some negative forms of masculinity. You know, there's that term being thrown around, toxic masculinity, which is really toxic, really poison, because it makes a man just to be connected to his masculinity, he feels like that's poisonous or toxic. He feels like that's wrong, feels bad just for being a man. And that's a very destructive idea. And it's very disempowering. And we'll talk more about that a little later. But I do want to acknowledge there are some negative forms of masculinity that have had very negative and detrimental effects on the world and on women. And that is showing up in the world, and it's important to acknowledge that as truth. But the problem is that no one's talking about the other side of it. No one's talking about the positive traits of masculinity, all the positive traits and sides of masculinity that are really so important and so valuable. So, what are the traits of positive masculinity? Well, the first one we're going to talk about is purpose, and direction. Oh, and before we jump into these traits, I just want to say that it's important to understand that women can possess all of these traits, but they are masculine traits. It's masculine energy that's underlying all of these traits. So women can indeed possess these traits, and a lot of women do possess these traits, but they doesn't make them not masculine traits. They are at their core masculine traits. Okay? So, purpose and direction. For a man who has purpose in his life, he is on his path. He knows what his purpose is. He knows what he has to do. He knows what's important to him. And, it's important that you completely own your purpose as a man, and that you understand that your purpose comes before all else, including women. No one woman comes before your purpose. So that's really important to understand. And that's a very positive trait. As long as, of course, that purpose is about something that's not, as long as it's not harming anyone else, what your purpose is, then having purpose and direction is a very positive thing. Next, we have focus and drive. These are very masculine traits, right? The purpose, the direction, the focus, the drive. I think that's self-explanatory. If you're able to focus and sustain focus and not be distracted, if you have that drive and motivation to truly move through any barrier and accomplish whatever goal you set for yourself, that is very, very masculine and very positive trait. The next one we have is self-determination. So really determining who you're going to be as a man. Determining yourself and manifesting your chosen destiny, and knowing that you can create the reality for yourself that you want and become the person that you want to be. And that you're not being determined by the outside world. You're not in reactivity to the outside world. You're being the cause of your life and your reality and your choices, and not the effect. And that's very, very positive thing, to be able to determine yourself. The next one we have is self-discipline. Self-discipline is very masculine, right? Because what is self-discipline is about? Self-discipline is about self-control. It's about impulse control, controlling your impulses, mastering yourself, mastering your emotions, mastering your base urges to become distracted or do things that would not benefit you in the long run, right? The ability to delay gratification. And that's a very, very positive thing. And also to be able to know that you have the ability to do the things that you need to do and you should be doing because they're aligned with your purpose, even when you don't feel like doing it. That's self-discipline, and that's very masculine and very positive. The next one we have is groundedness. So, a man who's grounded is solid. He's feeling that connection to himself, to the world, to the earth, to the ground beneath him. He's grounded in his own presence. And as a man, when you're grounded in your presence, women feel grounded in your presence. People in general feel grounded in your presence. And this creates a feeling of ease and safety and relaxation. And you draw people into your world because you're grounded. And you know that no matter what's happening, you can stay grounded and solid within yourself and handle anything that gets thrown at you, right? So that's a very positive masculine trait. Next, we have assertiveness. So what is assertiveness about? Assertiveness is about having strong boundaries and being able to take charge when the time is right, when you know that you need to. You can lead and you can take charge. And I also want to mention that all of these traits really fall under the umbrella of the fundamental core trait of masculinity, which is leadership. And so all of these traits are part of being a good leader and different aspects of leadership. So assertiveness is really important as an aspect of leadership because you're able to take charge when you need to. You're able to have those strong boundaries that I talked about, and you have certainty in the actions that you take, and you're not reactive. And that's a really big difference between being assertive. You're not being aggressive. You're not reacting emotionally, because that's the difference between being assertive and aggressive. And that's the difference between a more negative form of masculinity that's usually shamed, is the being aggressive, aggression, right? And being assertive, which is very, there's a huge difference between those things. And as part of being assertive, you're also able to, again, you're not emotionally reactive, and you're able to observe your emotions and react, or not react to them, but rather respond to them in the moment in the way that you know is best for whatever is the given situation. The next one we have is NonReactivity. So NonReactivity is very positive, a very masculine trait. And what that means is that you're not at the whim of other things. You are, again, at the cause and not the effect. And you don't just react when things are thrown at you. You're able to withstand and hold your ground no matter what comes at you. And as we kind of already talked about, this also includes emotional non-reactivity. So really being able to observe your emotions and respond in the best way possible. And that's a very positive, very masculine trait. The next one we have is integrity. So integrity, what does integrity really mean? And again, I really want to emphasize that a woman can absolutely have integrity, and it is a trait that women can possess, and a lot of women do possess. Really amazing women possess it. However, it is a masculine trait in the sense that it is about having firm beliefs that you stand up for, and standing up for what you believe in a way that you really have conviction around your beliefs, and not giving a fuck about what other people think about that. You really are able to, you own your integrity and stick to your values with conviction and not compromise them for anything. And this is, really important, because this is what lets people know that they can actually trust you and rely on you, because they can't sway you. And, they know that you have integrity and you're in alignment with your values, and your values, your thoughts, your words, and actions are all in alignment. So people know that they can trust you because you're not wishy-washy. So understanding positive masculinity is really understanding all of these traits and why they're important and how they serve the world in a positive way. And really being able to cultivate all of these traits within yourself and embody them as much as possible, and own your masculinity without all the bullshit programming and conditioning telling you that being a man is wrong, or that expressing masculinity is a negative thing. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the agenda to feminize men. So there is an agenda to feminize men, and that's because it disempowers men and disconnects them from their power and their understanding of their masculine essence, which gives them access to all of these internal resources in which they would no longer be seeking approval from external sources. So it's really important to understand that there are people who want to keep men disempowered. They want to keep people in general disempowered, but we're specifically talking about men here. And that's because they want to be able to control men and get them to do what they want them to do. And I also want to say that when I'm talking about that there are certain people in certain positions of power that have this agenda, they are not women. So I'm not saying that women are doing this. Okay, they're actually most likely men. They're men in high positions of power that have this agenda because it serves their interests. Okay, so, and this is why men these days are being told to be more effeminate. And this is why they've lost their core confidence and their ability to know their own value and their own worth, because they're constantly seeking external approval and validation because they're disconnected from their masculine essence, which again has all of these internal resources that they've lost access to, all these traits we just talked about, right? So another part of this is to keep people divided, because how do you control people? You divide them. You turn them against each other. And the best way to divide is through disempowering them, right? That's the best way you can divide people, is you disempower them. And there's a lot going on to divide men and women right now, so that they're looking at each other as enemies rather than allies that they can collaborate with. And another part of this is confusion. They're trying to keep men and women very confused, because nowadays they're trying to masculinize women while they're feminizing men. So women are told to be more like men, and that it's okay for them to be like men, but it's not okay for men to be men. So you have this really messed up situation where each sex and each gender is basically being conditioned to want to embody the other traits of the opposite sex. And this is why gender relations are in such disarray. This is why the dynamics between men and women are so messed up. This is why relationships between men and women are so messed up, because they have women not even willing to embrace their own femininity, and they have men thinking they can't embrace masculinity. So women are, and really women are pissed off, because they really need real men to step the fuck up to the plate. And that's not happening because men are too afraid, because they're told not to do that. They're told they're not supposed to do that anymore. So this is all very important to understand, because that conditioning is still running you, and it will hold you back with women and relationships and in life, period, unless you're able to understand how this conditioning and programming is running you from unconscious levels, and making choices for you in how you behave and how you choose to carry yourself as a man and walk through the world and approach and interact with women and people in general. So now we're going to talk about getting our power back. So our power has been taken away from us as men through all of these mechanisms that we've been talking about. And it's really important that we stop giving our power away. We have to stop giving our power away to women. And how do we give our power away to women? Because we seek value in their opinion of us, as opposed to our opinion of ourselves. And we have to know that our opinion of ourselves is more important than their opinion of us. That's really key. So that's how we give our power away. And the way that we can take it back is by stopping seeking value in the opinion that women have of us, and know that the opinion we have of ourselves, it matters more, it's more important, and that's what we have to hold as our priority, rather than their opinion of us and seeking their approval and validation. And we also have to reclaim our birthright as leaders, because that's part of our power. And as men, our birthright is to be leaders. Now, I want to make this very clear. When I'm talking about our birthright is to be leaders, it is to be leaders in a positive way. All of these things are about making a positive impact on women and the world, leaving women better than when you found them, helping them to evolve and unfold their highest potential, just as you should be doing for yourself as a man. So it's really important that we reclaim our birthright as men, as warriors, as leaders, with compassion and responsibility. Because, with great power comes great responsibility. So as leaders, we have to be responsible and we have to be compassionate. So we have to be compassionate, responsible leaders and really lead ourselves and humanity and the women that we date and interact with in a more positive direction. And that is our birthright as men. So the next thing we're going to talk about is owning our sexuality. So the reality is that because of all this shame and the programming and conditioning that we've been talking about, we may have some shame around our sexuality that really prevents us from owning it. So we have to own our sexuality fully, knowing that it's part of being a man. You can't separate being a man and being sexual. Those things are the same. You are a sexual being. Just as a man, just as a woman is a sexual being. As a man, you are a sexual being. And the more that you can own your sexuality without shame and do whatever you need to really move beyond the shame that you may have around it, the more women are going to respond well to you. Because that is what women need. It is our gift to women. Women need to feel the sexual energy from a man. It is like their food. The feminine is starving for it, and only a few men are willing to step up and give them this food. As men, like femininity is like our food. We want to feel that feminine energy, that feminine sexuality. It's the exact same for women. They are starving to feel that sexual confidence from a man that has no shame around his sexuality, who can own his sexuality and communicate that in a way that she knows that he knows how to turn her on. She knows that when it comes to the bedroom, he's going to know exactly what to do. He knows how to lead her into a seductive sexual experience. And that's really what she's craving. So it's really key to own our sexuality. And it's another part of reclaiming our manhood. It's not separate from everything else that we've talked about. As men, we're leaders and we're sexual beings. And that's part of our power. So part of taking our power back is owning our sexuality. So now we're going to talk about understanding our value to women. So we really have to understand our value to women. As men, we're kind of taught to believe we don't have that much value to women, and that we're kind of the disposable sex and the undervalued sex in society when it comes to sexuality and relationships. And that's because men don't understand their true value to women. So you have to understand how valuable you are to women and all the different ways you offer and provide value to women. So on the very basic level, which is what society tells you, you're valuable to possibly provide security financially, to provide her with offspring, children, procreation. But you're also valuable to women in a different way. You're valuable to them because you offer them the masculine energy that they need and that they crave. You offer them your masculine presence and strength. You offer them leadership. You offer them amazing sex and sexual fulfillment and the dominance that they crave and the boundaries that they need. You offer all of this to a woman as a man. And you also offer them the value of challenging them to really step into their own growth and their own potential and really develop and unfold themselves to their highest level. And that's so much value that you're offering. And the other part of this is that you have a higher sexual market value than you're aware of, because your value just increases with age. As a man, as you continue to develop yourself and work on yourself and evolve in all the different aspects of your life, you know, your value just continues to increase as you get older. It does not decrease, it increases. So as you work on your career more, your finances, your health, your fitness, and your self-development in general, your value just continues to go up and up and up. And you just become more refined with age, and you become more valuable. And what does that mean? It means you have more options with women. So, we're conditioned to believe that we're supposed to settle down in our 30s and get married. And that's kind of the mainstream narrative that we're fed. And if you've really explored enough as a man and really found a partner that you truly love, because you've already had a lot of relationships and interacted with and dated with a lot of other women, and you're choosing that woman out of abundance and not out of scarcity, then by all means, if you want to get married and have kids in your 30s, then go for it. But the reality is that most men are not doing that. They're settling because they think that that's what they're supposed to do, because society has told them that it's the right thing to do, and there's a lot of pressure, and they're doing it from a scarcity mentality, because they don't think that they have options. They don't think they could do any better than the woman that they're with. And a lot of them know nothing about relationships, so they end up in an unhappy marriage for the rest of their lives, or get divorced, or possibly lose everything and then do it all over again. So it's really key that you don't settle too early. You want to really explore yourself as a man, and you want to explore relationships. You want to find out what you want in a relationship and what you don't want in a relationship, what you want in a woman and what you don't want in a woman. And the only way that you can do that is by dating a lot of different women, and even being in relationships with a lot of different women. And then you can figure that out. And also, you don't have to settle for monogamy. There's a lot of myths about monogamy. And you don't have to settle for monogamy or for anything less than you truly want. Because the reality is that if you're offering enough value and you have enough abundance, and a woman sees how much value that you have, then you can be dating multiple women late into your older ages if you choose to, if that's really what you want. Or you can have an open relationship. There's really endless possibilities. A lot of men think that all women want monogamy, and that's not fucking true. Again, if you're giving enough value to a woman where you can have a relationship with her and you're dating other women at the same time, but she gets more from you, even though your attention is spread through other women, than she would if she was just dating one man monogamously, then she's going to be totally fine with that. It's all about the value that you're providing and what it is that you really want. So what I'm really getting at here is, don't settle for less than what you really, really want. If you want monogamy because that's really what you want, then be monogamous. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you would rather have multiple relationships and date multiple women, then don't just settle for monogamy because you feel like you can't have what you really want, because you can't. So the bottom line is, no matter what choice you're making, make sure that you're making your choices out of abundance and not out of scarcity. Whatever dating and relationship choices that you're making, make out of abundance and not out of scarcity. All right, so that about wraps up this presentation. If you would like to learn more, go ahead and shoot me an email at info@evolutionofman.net, and I'll be happy to respond to you. And if you're interested in taking things further, I do offer full-scale private coaching, and I can definitely help you out regardless of where you're at in your journey. So check out my website, evolutionofman.net. You can check out some of the video testimonials and written testimonials I have on there from previous clients talking about the results they've gotten from working with me. And if you're really serious about this and you're ready to get some real results and get this area of your life handled, then don't hesitate to shoot me an email and we will schedule a free 30-minute consultation call where we can discuss your short-term and long-term goals when it comes to women, dating, and relationships and life in general, as well as your sticking points. What are your barriers? What are you struggling with right now, and what do you need to work on? And we can see if it's a good fit and go from there. Also, make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel. There's a lot of really great content on here, and there's a lot more coming very soon. And give this video a thumbs up if you got value from it, from this presentation, and comment down below what your biggest takeaways were from this presentation. What did you learn, and how are you going to apply this to your life and to your dating lives and to just the way that you walk through the world as a man? All right, this is a really important topic. I'm very passionate about it. We really need to reclaim our manhood. So share this video with anyone else who you think would benefit from it, who'd be interested, or who needs to hear this message, because I want to get this out to as many guys as possible. Join my Facebook group if you haven't yet already too, because I put out weekly live streams in there that are really full of valuable content, really incredible stuff I go into every single Sunday. You don't want to miss these. If you're in the group, you can participate live, ask me questions, get feedback in a moment from me, which is invaluable, and be part of the Evolution of Man community, which is a really cool thing. Follow me on IG at _WillPowers as well. And lastly, there's a link below this video in the description for a free attraction cheat sheet. So go ahead and click that link now. It'll take you to a page where you can download it immediately. 3 instant ways to spark attraction with any girl without using cheesy pickup lines or scripted routines. Lots of valuable stuff in there you can apply immediately. So don't sleep on that. Make sure you apply that stuff because it's very, very powerful. All right, that is it for today. Until next time, Will Powers signing off. Peace.